The stars twinkled peacefully against the black void of space. Earth rotated below, blue and serene, its inhabitants going about their daily lives unaware of what approached. In lunar orbit, Admiral Lena Carter sipped her coffee while reviewing the morning reports. The United Earth Defense Fleet had enjoyed 5 years of relative quiet since the last pirate activity in the outer colonies. "Admiral, we have an unscheduled arrival at the edge of the system," Lieutenant Greg Peterson's voice interrupted the calm of the command center. His fingers flew across the holographic display, bringing up sensor readings. Lena set down her coffee mug. "Define unscheduled, Lieutenant." "Unknown vessel, ma'am. Massive energy signature. Nothing like we've seen before." Greg's voice remained professional, but Lena noted the slight tremor. "It just appeared near Pluto's orbit." "Show me," she ordered, moving to the main viewing screen. The image materialized, and Lena felt her breath catch. The vessel was enormous. Early estimates placed it at 15 kilometers from bow to stern. Its dark hull gleamed with a metallic purple sheen, covered in what appeared to be weapon emplacements. This was no exploration or trade vessel. "Send alert code Alpha 9 to all UEDF outposts. Wake up the Secretary General." Lena turned to her communications officer. "And get me Captain Martinez on the Defiant. They're closest to the contact." Minutes later, the face of Captain Joe Martinez appeared on screen. The Defiant was a scout ship, fast but lightly armed, currently on patrol near Mars. "Captain, we need eyes on our visitor. Maintain safe distance and do not engage. I want visuals and readings." "Understood, Admiral. Moving to intercept. ETA 40, minutes at full burn." Martinez nodded, his expression serious but composed. Lena turned back to her tactical display. Already, defense platforms throughout the solar system were coming to higher alert status. Not full combat readiness, not yet, but prepared. "Admiral," Greg called out, "the vessel is transmitting. All frequencies, all languages." "Put it through." The voice that filled the command center was deep and resonant, speaking perfect English with an odd metallic undertone. "Attention, inhabitants of the third planet. We are the Vexari Empire, masters of 17 star systems. Your species will submit and serve. Resistance is futile and will result in orbital bombardment of your major population centers. You have 48 Earth hours to respond." The message repeated in Mandarin, Hindi, Spanish, Arabic, and continued cycling through Earth's major languages. Lena's mind raced. First contact, and it was exactly the scenario military planners had feared. "Record all transmissions. I want linguistics and psychology teams analyzing every word." 6 hours later, the Situation Room beneath Geneva hummed with activity. Secretary General Maya Williams stood at the head of the table, facing the emergency gathering of Earth's Leadership Council. The room was designed to withstand anything short of a direct nuclear strike, a relic of old Earth wars that now seemed quaint compared to the threat looming above. "The Vexari vessel has taken position in Mars orbit," Lena reported, pointing to the tactical display. "The Defiant reports minimal communication with the vessel despite attempts to hail. They have deployed smaller craft, likely scouts or fighters, in a defensive perimeter." "What are our options?" Maya asked, her dark eyes moving from one advisor to another. Defense Minister Alan Patel cleared his throat. "Our visible assets are outmatched. The UEDF fleet is formidable by our standards, but this vessel outguns our entire Navy combined. Conventional response would result in heavy casualties." "And the unconventional response?" Maya raised an eyebrow. Lena and Alan exchanged glances. The room fell silent. "Protocol Thunderbolt," Lena said quietly. Several council members shifted uncomfortably. Protocol Thunderbolt wasn't just classified. For most of them, it existed only as a rumor, a contingency, so secret that fewer than 30 people on Earth knew its full scope. "Explain for those not familiar," Maya instructed. Lena nodded. "After the resource wars, Earth's nations agreed that we should never again face extinction. While the public saw the UEDF as our primary defense, we quietly built alternatives. Hidden throughout the solar system are defense platforms far beyond what we publicly acknowledge, weapons systems that could destroy a small moon." "And no one detected this buildup?" asked the European Council representative. Alan smiled thinly. That was rather the point, Madam Representative. The systems were constructed in deep space, assembled, in the shadow of moons and asteroids, power systems dormant until needed. We've spent 30 years preparing for this day. We shouldn't rush to military options, cautioned the African Union representative. This is first contact. We should attempt diplomacy. Agreed, Maya nodded. We assemble a diplomatic team immediately. Admiral Carter, prepare your visible fleet for defensive positioning only. But, she paused, quietly bring Thunderbolt to standby status. The Vexari ship grew larger in the viewport as the diplomatic shuttle approached. Ambassador Peter Clark straightened his tie, a nervous habit from his days as a university professor before entering the diplomatic corps. Beside him, Dr. Nora Smith, xenolinguist, rechecked her universal translator. Remember, Peter said to the small team, we listen more than we speak. We're here to understand their demands and buy time. The shuttle docked with surprising ease. The Vexari Bay was compatible with human technology, suggesting they'd encountered similar species before. As the airlock cycled, Dr. Smith confirmed the atmosphere was breathable, if somewhat richer, in oxygen than Earth normal. The door slid open to reveal their hosts. The Vexari stood nearly 8 feet tall. Their bodies were vaguely reptilian, covered in scales that shifted color like oil on water. 4 arms emerged from their torsos, the upper pair ending in 7-fingered hands, the lower in what appeared to be natural weapon formations. I am Zex Kaltar, fleet commander of the Vexari Empire, the largest of them announced. The translator rendered its speech perfectly, though the mouth movements didn't match the words. You are the submission delegation? Peter stepped forward. I am Ambassador Peter Clark of Earth. We come to discuss terms and learn about the Vexari. The alien made a sound like steam escaping a kettle. Laughter, perhaps. There are no terms to discuss, only submission or destruction. 17 systems have fallen before us. You will be the 18th. Perhaps, Peter replied carefully. But Earth wishes to understand what submission entails. What do you require of us? Resources, labor, technology if you have any worth taking. 1/4 of your population for service in our labor worlds. Zex Kaltar moved closer, towering over Peter. Your species appears physically weak, but potentially useful for detail work. Peter kept his expression neutral with effort. I see. And if we were to offer trade instead? Partnership? Again, the steam kettle sound. The Empire does not partner. It rules. Meanwhile, deep beneath the lunar surface, Commander Frank Howard received the authentication codes from Admiral Carter. His team had lived and trained in this secret facility for years, rotating out periodically to maintain secrecy. Attention all personnel. His voice echoed through the cavernous underground base. Protocol Thunderbolt is now active. This is not a drill. Around him, men and women moved with practiced efficiency. Status boards lit up green as weapons platforms throughout the solar system quietly came online. On Jupiter's moons, massive railgun arrays powered up. In the asteroid belt, stealth platforms disengaged their cloaking systems. No one on Earth had seen these weapons fire. Frank hoped they wouldn't need to today, but history suggested otherwise. Hope for peace. Prepare for war. The oldest human wisdom still applied among the stars. Ambassador Peter Clark and his team returned to Earth with grim faces. The shuttle docked at Geneva Spaceport where Admiral Lena Carter waited on the landing pad. The wind whipped her dark hair as the engines powered down. They're not interested in talking, Peter said as he stepped onto the tarmac. The Vexari want 1/4 of our population for labor and half our resources. They've conquered 17 systems using the same approach. Lena nodded, her face betraying no emotion. Then we need to show them Earth isn't like the others. Come with me. They rode in silence to the underground command center. Secretary General Maya Williams was already there, along with the Defense Council. The large screen showed the Vexari ship, still in orbit around Mars. They've given us 24 hours instead of 48, Peter explained to the room. They said our attempts at diplomacy were a waste of time. They expect us to surrender, Maya said. What intelligence did you gather while aboard, Dr. Joe? Nora Smith, the xenolinguist, stepped forward. Their ship is impressive, but not invincible. I noticed repair work on their lower hull sections. They've been in battles recently, and based on their conversations among themselves, they're stretched thin across their conquered territories. Good work, Lena said. What about their weapon systems? Energy-based, primarily, Peter added. Similar to our plasma technology, but more advanced. They have what appears to be kinetic weapons as well, likely for orbital bombardment. Maya turned to Admiral Carter. Time for your assessment, Admiral. Lena brought up a new display on the main screen. It showed not just the solar system, but hundreds of small dots hidden throughout it. Project Thunderbolt is fully online. Every platform is green. We have weapons coverage across all approach vectors. She looked at each council member in turn. We can fight. And win? Asked the European representative. That depends on what lurks behind that ship, Lena admitted. But based on what we've seen, yes, we can win this battle. Whether we can win a war against their entire empire is another question. Maya walked around the table slowly. The Vexari expect us to bow down, to surrender without a fight like the others. She stopped, placing her hands flat on the surface. I need a unanimous council decision. Do we fight? The vote was quick. For once, Earth stood united. Admiral Carter, Maya said formally, you are authorized to execute Operation Solar Wrath. Lena nodded. I'll need 12 hours to position all assets. You have them. The diplomatic team will send one last message at hour 23, stalling for the final preparations. On the moon base, Commander Frank Howard briefed his weapons team. The underground facility buzzed with activity as soldiers prepared for humanity's first interstellar war. The Thunderbolt platforms were built for this moment, Frank told them. Each of you knows your station. Each of you knows the plan. We will not fire first, but when we fire to win. Chief Engineer Olivia Ross stood before the main control panel of the lunar base. Her team had spent years maintaining the secret weapons. Now they would see if their work paid off. All systems are showing green, she reported. Power levels at maximum. Targeting computers online. Frank placed a hand on her shoulder. We built this system hoping never to use it. But we built it well, she finished with a grim smile. Across the solar system, similar scenes played out in secret bases. On Europa, Lieutenant Sam Cooper ran final checks on the massive railgun array hidden beneath the icy surface. In the asteroid belt, Commander Lisa Evans verified the stealth coating on her weapons platforms. Near Neptune, Captain Eric Sullivan watched as his crews loaded the last of the special warheads into the missile tubes. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this day. No one knew if it would be enough. At hour 23, Ambassador Peter Clark sent the final message to the Vexari vessel. This is Earth's diplomatic corps. We request an extension of 6 hours to finalize our surrender terms. The reply came. Quickly. No extensions. Submit formal surrender in 1 hour or face consequences. Peter looked at Lena. That should position their ship exactly where we want it. In the war room, Secretary General Maya Williams prepared to give Earth's true answer. Camera crews set up as she straightened her jacket. People of Earth, she began, her voice broadcasting to every corner of the planet. Today we face the greatest threat in human history. An alien empire has demanded our surrender. They expect us to bow down, to give up our freedom without a fight. She paused, her expression resolute. Humanity bows to no empire. We choose freedom. As the deadline arrived, the Vexari commander opened a communication channel. His reptilian face filled the screen, scales shimmering with irritation. Your time has expired. Submit or face annihilation. Maya stood tall before the camera. The people of Earth have considered your offer and prepared our response. She nodded to someone off screen. On cue, Admiral Carter gave the command that would change humanity's future forever. All units, execute Solar Wrath. Across the solar system, humanity revealed its true military capability. Thousands of stealth platforms, simultaneously disengaged their cloaking systems. From the moons of Jupiter, massive kinetic projectiles launched at incredible speeds. From Earth orbit, energy weapons powered up. From the asteroid belt, swarms of attack drones activated. On the lunar base, Commander Frank Howard watched as his team executed their roles with perfect precision. Primary targeting locked. Firing sequence initiated. The Vexari ship had just begun to move into position to launch its first wave of fighters when the attack hit. The massive vessel hadn't even activated its full shields. So confident were they in Earth's surrender. The first wave of kinetic impactors, tungsten rods accelerated to near relativistic speeds, struck the Vexari flagship with such force that its partial shields collapsed instantly. The alien commander barely had time to register shock before a second wave tore through the vessel's hull, targeting engines and weapon systems with surgical precision. Secondary targets acquiring, reported Lieutenant Kelly Russell from the Mars Defense Platform. Firing solution ready. The smaller Vexari vessels attempted evasive maneuvers, but they'd been surrounded in a carefully planned trap. Humanity's defense grid had been designed with this exact scenario in mind. Continue bombardment until all hostile vessels are neutralized, Admiral Carter ordered, her voice calm despite the enormity of what was happening. On the main screen, the Vexari flagship broke apart, massive sections spinning away as internal explosions rippled along its length. Its escort vessels fared no better, caught in crossfire from multiple hidden weapon platforms. The battle lasted less than 15 minutes. When it ended, the mighty Vexari advance force was reduced to scattered debris. Solar Wrath had lived up to its name. In the war room, a stunned silence fell. For all their preparation, no one had expected such a complete victory. Secretary General Maya Williams was the first to speak. Admiral Carter, what's our status? Lena checked the incoming reports. All platforms report successful engagement. Minimal damage to our systems. We've detected several escape pods launched from the Vexari vessels. Defense ships are moving to intercept. And Earth? Safe, Madam Secretary. For now. Maya nodded slowly. For now. But we've just defeated an advance force of an empire that spans 17 systems. We should expect they'll send more. And we'll be ready, Lena replied, determination in her voice. Across Earth, people watched in awe as news of the victory spread. Humanity had faced its first interstellar threat and won. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. 3 days after the battle, Admiral Lena Carter stood in a secure room deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Behind an energy barrier, a single Vexari survivor sat motionless. The alien was smaller than Zex Kelter had been, but still towered over the human guards. According to the translator, this was Sub-Commander Vextalen, the highest-ranking survivor of the Vexari expedition. You hid your true strength, the alien said without preamble. Its voice translator gave the words a metallic quality. The Empire has conquered 17 systems, and none had such weapons. Lena crossed her arms. Your Empire threatened the wrong species. How? The alien's scales rippled with color. Frustration, perhaps. We studied your planet for months. We saw your ships, your stations. Nothing suggested such military capability. We've learned to keep our teeth hidden until they're needed, Lena replied. Tell me about your empire. How soon should we expect retaliation? The alien's head tilted. The nearest fleet could arrive within 3 of your months. High Command will not tolerate such a defeat. How many ships? 20 capital vessels like the one you destroyed. Hundreds of smaller craft. Lena showed no reaction, though inwardly she calculated the threat. 1 Vexari ship had been manageable. 20 would stretch Earth's defenses to their limit. Why? Does your empire conquer? She asked. Resources, territory? Both, and because we can. The alien's eyes, vertical slits of amber, fixed on her. The strong rule. It is the way of the universe, not our way. So we have learned, Vextalen replied, at great cost. In the days that followed, Earth prepared for war. Secretary General Maya Williams declared a global state of emergency. Resources poured into the military. Hidden factories, that had quietly built Earth's secret defenses now worked at full capacity. 2 weeks after the battle, Maya called an emergency session of the United Nations. "We've confirmed the Vexari prisoners' claims," she told the assembled representatives. "Long-range sensors have detected a large fleet assembling at the edge of Proxima Centauri. They will reach Earth in approximately 11 weeks. The chamber erupted in worried chatter. "Can we defeat them?" asked the representative from Japan. Admiral Carter stepped forward. "The honest answer is, we don't know. 1 ship, yes. 20 ships? We'll fight, but the outcome is uncertain. Perhaps we should negotiate," suggested the Brazilian representative. "Find terms that allow us to maintain some independence." "According to our prisoner, the Vexari don't negotiate after being defied," Maya replied. "They'll accept nothing, less than total submission now, likely with harsher terms than before." The Chinese representative stood. "Then we must prepare for total war. China offers its full industrial capacity to the defense effort. One by one, nations pledged their support. For the first time in human history, Earth stood truly united." After the meeting, Lena found Chief Engineer Olivia Ross waiting outside. The engineer looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. "Tell me you have good news," Lena said as they walked together. "Maybe." Olivia pulled up a schematic on her tablet. "Project Spearhead. The prototype is ready for testing." Lena studied the design. "This was theoretical. You said it would take years." "That was before aliens threatened to enslave us," Olivia replied with a tired smile. "Amazing how quickly barriers fall when survival is at stake." "When can I see it?" "Tomorrow. Neptune Station." The next day, Lena's shuttle docked with the most remote of Earth's secret bases. Neptune Station hung in orbit around the distant blue planet, hidden from Earth telescopes by specialized cloaking technology. Commander Eric Sullivan greeted her at the airlock. "Admiral, we've been expecting you." "Show me," Lena said simply. They floated through the station to a massive observation window. Beyond it was the largest weapon Lena had ever seen. It stretched nearly 2 kilometers in length, a sleek, silver creation bristling with energy emitters and targeting arrays. "Project Spearhead," Eric said with pride. "The most powerful weapon ever created by human hands." "Will it work?" Lena asked. "In theory, it can destroy a planet," Olivia said as she joined them. "In practice, we've scaled it back. Too many moral questions about that level of power. But it should be able to cut through any Vexari ship like butter. And we have just one? For now. We can build 3 more before the Vexari fleet arrives if every shipyard works at full capacity." Lena nodded. "Make it happen." Over the next 8 weeks, humanity transformed. Old rivalries were set aside. Every factory, every laboratory, every shipyard focused on one goal: survival. Children looked to the stars with fear instead of wonder. Adults trained for combat and civil defense. The Vexari prisoner watched these preparations with growing curiosity. "Your species is unusual," Vex Talon told Lena during one of her regular visits. "Most races we conquer fight amongst themselves, even in the face of extinction. Some factions always seek advantage by siding with us. We have a long history of fighting each other," Lena admitted. "But we also unite against common threats. The fleet that comes will not be like the advance. Force you destroyed," the alien warned. "They will not underestimate you again. We're counting on that," Lena replied with a grim smile. 2 days later, long-range sensors detected the Vexari fleet accelerating toward Earth, now just 3 weeks away. Secretary General Maya Williams addressed the planet. "People of Earth, the moment approaches when we must again defend our freedom. The Vexari Empire sends its fleet not just to conquer but to punish us for daring to resist. They expect us to tremble. They expect us to question our choice to fight rather than submit." Her voice grew stronger. "But we will show them what humans do when cornered. We rise, we fight, and we win." Across the solar system, humanity's defenses moved into final position. The stealth platforms repositioned for maximum coverage. The 4 completed spearhead weapons took up station at strategic points. Earth's visible military, the decoy that had fooled the first Vexari force, formed a defensive screen around the planet. On the Neptune Station command deck, Admiral Lena Carter reviewed the final battle plans with her commanders. The Vexari, expect us to defend Earth directly, she explained, pointing to the tactical display. Instead, we'll create a kill zone here near Jupiter's orbit. Their fleet will pass through this corridor based on their current trajectory. What if they change course? Asked Commander Frank Howard. Then we adapt, Lena replied. This won't be like last time. They'll be ready for our visible weapons. The Thunderbolt platforms will only get one good surprise attack. And after that? Chief Engineer Olivia Ross asked. Lena's expression hardened. After that, we find out just how good we really are. As the days counted down, humanity waited. In homes and shelters across Earth, people prepared for the possibility of defeat. But in military bases throughout the solar system, humanity's defenders prepared for victory. The Vexari fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system exactly where the long-range sensors had predicted. 20 massive capital ships, each larger than the one humanity had destroyed, plus hundreds of smaller vessels. They moved in tight. Formation, shields already active, weapons hot. In the command center beneath Geneva, Secretary General Maya Williams watched the tactical display with the Defense Council. The massive holographic projection showed the invaders as red dots advancing toward Earth. They're not bothering with demands this time, she noted. Admiral Lena Carter nodded. They're here to punish, not negotiate. How long until they reach the kill zone? Approximately 6 hours at their current speed, Lena replied. All defense forces are in position, spearhead weapons are armed and ready. Maya looked around at the grim faces of Earth's leadership. Then we commit to our course. Admiral Carter, you have full tactical authority. Godspeed. Aboard Neptune Station, Lena took command of the battle. The station had been converted into humanity's primary military headquarters, safe in the outer reaches of the solar system. Status report, she ordered as she entered the command deck. Lieutenant Kelly Russell responded immediately. Vexari fleet maintaining formation. They're scanning extensively. Looking for our hidden weapons, no doubt. Thunderbolt platforms. Remain undetected for now. Spearhead weapons are in position, cloaked. And our visible fleet? In defensive formation around Earth, as planned. The Vexari appear to be ignoring them, focusing on the planet itself. Lena studied the display. They're being cautious this time, no overconfidence. She opened a channel to all commanders. All units maintain stealth protocols. No movement, no active scanning until my command. The hours passed in tense silence. The Vexari fleet moved steadily inward, passing Mars' orbit without slowing. Their course would take them near Jupiter, directly into the kill zone Lena had established. They're taking the bait, Commander Frank Howard observed from his position on lunar base. They don't suspect the trap. Don't be too sure, Lena cautioned. Their formation is defensive. They're ready for surprises. As the Vexari fleet approached Jupiter, they suddenly split into 3 battle groups. The main force continued toward Earth while smaller groups veered off toward different vectors. They're spreading out, Kelly reported. This wasn't in their previous tactics. They learned, Lena said grimly. Adjust targeting priorities. Spearhead 1 and 2 focus on the main fleet. 3 and 4 target the flanking groups. On the command deck of Spearhead 1, Captain Sam Cooper acknowledged the orders. His weapon had been positioned behind one of Jupiter's moons, hidden from Vexari sensors. Charging main emitter, he reported. Ready to drop cloak on your command. Similar reports came in from the other Spearhead stations. Throughout the solar system, humanity's defenders waited for the signal. The Vexari continued their advance, now just minutes from the kill zone. Their flanking groups had spread wider, clearly searching for hidden threats. One of their scout ships is approaching Thunderbolt Platform 12, Kelly warned. They'll detect it in approximately 30 seconds, Lena made her decision. All units execute Phase 1, weapons free. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses revealed themselves. The Thunderbolt platforms decloaked simultaneously, their weapon systems targeting the nearest Vexari vessels. From the asteroid belt, Swarms of automated attack drones launched toward the enemy formation. The Vexari reacted instantly, bringing their ships into tighter defensive formations and powering shields to maximum. But they hadn't spotted the spearhead weapons yet. Flanking Group Alpha has detected Spearhead 3, Kelly reported. They're altering course to engage. Spearhead 3, fire when ready, Lena ordered. Captain Lisa Evans didn't hesitate, firing main weapon. Spearhead 3 lit up, its massive emitter gathering energy before releasing a concentrated beam of blinding light. The weapon struck the lead Vexari ship, cutting through its shields as if they weren't there. The massive vessel split in two, secondary explosions rippling along its hull as atmosphere vented into space. Direct hit, Lisa reported. Target destroyed, recharging for second shot. The Vexari fleet responded with overwhelming firepower. Hundreds of energy weapons fired at once, targeting the now visible human defenses. 3 Thunderbolt platforms disappeared in balls of flame. A dozen attack drones were swatted from space. Spearhead 1 and 2, engage main fleet now, Lena commanded. The 2 largest weapons decloaked and fired simultaneously. Their beams sliced through the Vexari formation, destroying 1 capital ship and severely damaging 2 others. The Vexari are adjusting tactics, Kelly warned. They're deploying countermeasures. From the lead, Vexari vessels came smaller craft, hundreds of them swarming toward the human weapons platforms. The battle transformed from a carefully planned ambush to chaos. They were more prepared than we thought, Frank said over the command channel. The Thunderbolt platforms in Jupiter orbit are taking heavy damage. Lena studied the tactical display, mind racing. The Vexari had indeed learned from their earlier defeat. Their ships were actively hunting for the hidden human weapons, using their superior numbers to overwhelm defenses. All units execute Phase 2, she ordered. Throughout the solar system, a second layer of defenses activated. Minefields previously hidden near the gas giants detonated among the Vexari formations. Railgun arrays on distant moons opened fire, sending hypersonic projectiles toward enemy vessels. On Earth, the visible human fleet launched from their defensive positions, heading out to join the battle. They were outgunned, but they would add their strength to the fight. For 3 hours, the battle raged across the solar system. Space itself seemed to burn as energy weapons crisscrossed the void. The spearhead weapons continued to prove devastatingly effective, each shot destroying a Vexari vessel. But they could only fire every 20 minutes as their massive power cells recharged. In the command center, Lena received damage reports from across the defense network. 4 Thunderbolt platforms destroyed, 2 spearhead weapons damaged, hundreds of drones lost. But the Vexari had suffered as well. 8 capital ships destroyed, dozens of smaller vessels eliminated. Main Vexari fleet has changed course, Kelly reported suddenly. They're pulling back, regrouping near Mars orbit. Are they retreating? Maya asked over the communication link. From Earth. Negative, Lena replied, studying their movement. They're consolidating their forces, preparing for another push. Admiral, Frank called from lunar base. We're detecting energy buildup in their remaining capital ships. Massive power signatures like nothing we've seen before. Lena's expression darkened. They're preparing their own version of Spearhead. Can our defenses withstand it? Maya asked. I don't know, Lena admitted, but we're about to find out. The Vexari fleet formed a new formation, their 12 remaining capital ships arranging in a perfect circle. Energy visibly flowed between them, building to levels that made human sensors fluctuate. All units, prepare for incoming, Lena warned. Spearhead weapons, target the center of their formation, fire as soon as recharged. As humanity braced for the Vexari's ultimate attack, Captain Sam Cooper made a desperate decision aboard Spearhead 1. Command, this is Spearhead 1. We're overriding safety protocols, diverting all power to main emitter. Cooper, that could cause a cascade failure. In your reactor, Lena warned. Understood, Admiral, but we need to break their formation now. Lena hesitated only a moment. Authorized. Fire when ready. All hands, brace for possible system failure, Sam told his crew. Firing in 3, 2, 1. Spearhead 1 fired, its beam twice as powerful as its previous shots. The supercharged weapon cut through space directly toward the center of the Vexari formation. Spearhead 1's supercharged beam cut through space like a knife through paper. The massive energy discharge struck the center of the Vexari formation, catching two capital ships directly. Both vessels shattered instantly, their shields useless. Against such concentrated power, the energy overflow cascaded to nearby ships, damaging 3 more. Inside Spearhead 1, alarm sirens blared as systems overloaded. Captain Sam Cooper shouted orders over the noise. Divert all remaining power to shields. Reactor containment is failing. His crew worked frantically, rerouting power as the weapon's massive energy drain threatened to tear the station apart. Spearhead 1, report status, Admiral Lena Carter demanded over the comm. Main weapon fired successfully, Sam replied, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. Reactor at critical levels. We've lost propulsion and most defensive systems. Can you evacuate? Sam looked around at his crew, saw their determined faces. Negative. We're staying to keep the weapon operational. We can still fire secondary systems. Across the battlefield, the Vexari formation had been broken. Their carefully coordinated attack was disrupted, the remaining ships scattering to avoid Spearhead 1's devastating beam. The Vexari fleet is regrouping, Lieutenant Kelly Russell reported from Neptune Station. They've lost 7 capital ships total. Remaining vessels show significant damage. Lena studied the tactical display. Humanity's forces had also suffered heavy losses. 2 Spearhead weapons severely damaged, half the Thunderbolt platforms destroyed, and countless smaller craft lost. But they were still fighting. All units, press the advantage, she ordered. Don't let them reform their formation. Throughout the solar system, humanity's defenders surged forward. The Earth fleet, which had seemed so small and insignificant before, now joined the battle in full force. Railguns on Jupiter's moons continued their relentless bombardment. The remaining Spearhead weapons fired at any Vexari capital ship that tried to coordinate with others. Aboard the Vexari command vessel, Fleet Admiral Zex Vortal watched his forces being slowly picked apart. What had begun as a punishment expedition was becoming a disaster. The humans had weapons that rivaled the Empire's best technology. More importantly, they used them with unexpected skill and coordination. Order all remaining ships to form defensive. Sphere, he commanded. Prepare jump engines for emergency recall. His subordinate's scales flashed with shock. We're retreating? The Emperor will have our heads. We'll have no heads at all if we stay, Zex Vortal replied. These humans are not like the others we've conquered. Send the data we've collected back to the Empire. They must know what we face. In the Geneva Command Center, Secretary General Maya Williams watched the battle unfold with growing hope. They're pulling back, she observed, forming a defensive position. Defense Minister Alan Patel nodded. Classic preparation for retreat. They've lost too many ships to continue the attack. Admiral Carter, Maya called over the comm. Assessment? Lena's voice came through clearly. They're preparing to retreat. We've hurt them badly, but our forces are also severely depleted. If they choose to make one final push toward Earth, we might not be able to stop them all. Recommendations? Let them go, Lena said simply. We've shown them what happens when they threaten Earth. If we push too hard, they might become desperate. Maya considered this for a moment, then nodded. Agreed. All units, maintain defensive positions. Do not pursue if they retreat. The order went out across the human forces. Attack craft pulled back to defensive positions around key installations. The remaining Spearhead weapons held their fire but remained locked on target. For tense minutes, nothing happened. The Vexari ships held their tight defensive formation, weapons still active but not firing. Then, one by one, the alien vessels began to disappear in flashes of light as they activated their jump drives. They're leaving, Kelly confirmed. Long range. Sensors show them heading back toward Vexari space. A cheer erupted in the command center. Across the solar system, in bases and ships and defense platforms, humans celebrated. They had faced the mighty Vexari Empire and emerged victorious. But Admiral Lena Carter did not join the celebrations. This isn't over, she warned. They'll be back, with more ships and better tactics. But we'll be ready, Maya replied. Earth stands united now. 6 months later, Lena stood in a newly constructed chamber aboard the space station Unity. Once called the International Space Station, it had been expanded and upgraded to serve as Earth's diplomatic headquarters. The station now orbited at the L1 point between Earth and the Moon, a symbol of humanity's presence in space. Across from her stood a delegation of Vexari diplomats, not warriors this time, but actual diplomats. Their lead negotiator, Zex Talmar, towered over the humans but maintained a respectful distance. The Emperor has authorized me to discuss terms, the alien stated formally. Your species has earned respect few others have managed, Secretary General Maya Williams nodded. We're pleased to hear that. Earth has no desire for continued conflict. Yet you continue to expand your military, Zex Talmar observed. Our scouts report new weapons platforms throughout your system. Precautionary measures, Lena replied. Your empire has a history of conquest. The Vexari's scales rippled, their equivalent of acknowledgement. True. For millennia we have expanded without significant resistance. Your defense has caused my reconsideration. The negotiations continued for days. The terms emerged slowly. Earth and its colonies would remain independent. A demilitarized zone would be established between human and Vexari space. Limited trade would begin on a trial basis. Most surprisingly, the Vexari agreed to withdraw from 3 recently conquered systems whose inhabitants had fought for freedom. After the final session, Lena found Maya staring out the viewport at Earth below. Do you think they'll honor the treaty? Lena asked. They will as long as they remember what happened when they demanded Earthbow to their empire. Maya replied. They respect strength, we've shown them ours. News of the treaty spread quickly throughout the galaxy. A small, previously unknown species had not only resisted the mighty Vexari Empire, but had forced it to negotiate as equals. Other subjugated species took notice. In the chambers of the Galactic Council, representatives debated what this meant for the balance of power. The Vexari Empire's expansion had been checked for the first time in centuries, and humanity, no longer hidden in its corner of the galaxy, took its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as defenders of freedom, armed with overwhelming firepower and the unshakable belief that no species should ever have to bow before an empire. On Neptune Station, now the headquarters of Earth's new Interstellar Defense Force, Admiral Lena Carter reviewed plans for improved spearhead weapons. Do you think we'll need these? Asked Commander Frank Howard, looking at the designs. I hope not, Lena replied. But if there's one thing humanity has learned, it's that peace is best maintained when you're ready for war. Frank nodded in understanding. The old saying, si vis pacem, para bellum. Exactly, Lena said with a smile. If you want peace, prepare for war and make sure everyone knows you're prepared. Across the stars, that message was now abundantly clear. Threaten humanity, demand submission, and the response would be overwhelming. Firepower. The age of Earth's isolation was over. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, armed, united, and unwilling to bow to any empire.